Listen to part of a lecture in a dendrology class.
As we learned last week, the primary function of the leaf is to supply food for the trees, by absorbing and processing sunlight and carbon dioxide, for photosynthesis. Now, we will continue with a discussion on two distinct types of trees, deciduous and coniferous trees. In general, trees and shrubs will either fall into one of the two categories, but, of course, there are also a few species of trees that will take on characteristics of both deciduous and coniferous trees. First off, let's take a look at deciduous trees. Can anyone tell me the characteristics of deciduous trees?
They are trees that shed their leaves seasonally, typically in autumn, and they have broad flat leaves.
That's correct. Oaks, maples, chestnuts, and birches are the common deciduous trees we will see in many parts of the world. Deciduous trees are broad-leafed, which makes them susceptible to damage in cold or dry weather, so the plants will lose their leaves to conserve water during winter. This process, when a plant drops its leaves, is called leaf abscission. Abscission occurs in the abscission zone of the deciduous plant, formed at the base of the petiole, or stalk, in which the abscission layer develops. Here, the separation takes place by the breakdown of the walls of a special layer of cells. Once detached, the part of the abscission zone, which stays on the plant, will develop into a protective layer of cork. Having lost their foliage, deciduous trees may look bare in winter, but these plants will flower from early spring, with stunning and gorgeous palettes, sprucing up the landscape or yard, and the blossoms will turn into seeds and fruit. Now, moving on to coniferous trees, as the name refers to cone bearer. These trees form a cone, rather than a flower. These trees have thin and needle-like foliage, and do not change colors, or lose their needles in fall.
Does that mean coniferous trees are evergreen trees like the Christmas trees?
Well, the Christmas trees that we normally see are evergreen conifers like pines, firs, and spruces. However, what you should also have in mind is that not all conifers are evergreens, and vice versa. Although coniferous trees are often referred to as evergreens, and this is true in many cases, there are also some coniferous trees that are deciduous, and some evergreens that are neither coniferous nor deciduous. What I'm trying to say is, conifers and evergreens address separate issues. Conifer pertains to the means of reproduction, in which they rely on the seed-bearing cones, in order to reproduce, whereas evergreen denotes a tree that has foliage, or needles year-round. So, again, all conifers have cones, but not all evergreen trees have cones.
Question 6. What does the professor say about deciduous trees? Question 7. According to the professor, what is true about coniferous trees?